Hello again, this is Everard Junction and this is another layout update for March of 2013. So this update is going to be sort of showing you some of the new items, some of the new stock I've picked up, as well as some future plans and things I've got in progress at the moment. One of the first things is I have done some more weathering on the ballast train on these limpet wagons. We focus up on the last one. You can see all the rust that I've done on there. I'll stop that train later and we'll have a closer look at it. I'm still yet to weather the Shell tanker train. I've done one wagon, but the weather hasn't really been warm enough for painting recently, so I'm holding off on that. And I'm going to try and do them all when it's a bit warmer, a little bit sort of better for doing some airbrushing. It does make good sense to weather them. As you can see, there's a massive difference. That's about as heavily weathered as it's going to get. I don't want them too much because I do like the livery. I've also picked up another Class 47. I'm a big fan of the 47, one of my favourite locos. This is the third one on the layout, and that is a Rail Freight Red Stripe livery 47. And it will be used mainly for freight duties on the layout, obviously because of its livery. I've also picked up a couple of extra coal wagons as well, as you can see. They're Bachmann HEA hoppers. They go nicely with the ones I already have. Both liveries were seen in mixed rakes during the 80s. Over here, I picked up some of the Bachmann scrap wagons. These are quite an old model now, quite old by Bachmann standards, but they're still very good. I was a bit concerned they might take them out of production, so I've bought a couple of those, and this will be my scrap train. I'm yet to make all the steel loads for it, and that'll be something to do later on. Let's try and get another close-up of these wagons that I've done the weathering on in slightly better light. So you can see the departmental ones that are in the civil engineers livery. They're sort of fairly pristine, they're not too heavily beaten up, and then the grey ones in the old sort of BR livery are quite rotten. They were quite fun to weather actually, they didn't take too long. Okay, so the main thing I've been doing over the last few weeks is I have repositioned sort of all the wiring underneath for all of the point motors, as well as troubleshoot a couple of the point motors. As a lot of you probably know, I use SEEP point motors for the whole layout, albeit not on that side because I haven't wired up that side yet, but anything from here sort of onwards is all SEEP point motors. Now over the last sort of 2 years or so, I've had probably about 3 or 4 of them have stopped working, and I needed to finally get around to fixing them. It turns out there's nothing wrong with them. They just had a couple of loose wires, so I resoldered the connections, and they all seem to be fine. They're all working again now. But what I have done while I was doing that is I have moved all of the wiring, because underneath the layout it was a real mess. You couldn't actually get in or do anything, and it was becoming quite a mess underneath there, and I didn't want to then start putting all the street lighting in and just adding to the mess. So what I did was I've rewired them, and I've cleaned up all the wiring. So we can see that we have this like bus running along here, this bus wire. It's basically just all of the point motors wiring for the switches, and it goes to all of the motors and just peels off every time it finds a motor. So you can see here you've got one goes up into a motor, it's hiding in there, and then we go along and comes up to the next one and the next one, and it just goes around the whole layout. So if we follow it back to the source, I've redone all the wiring under here. It's always going to be a bit of a mess here because this is where all the switches meet, but trust me, this is a hell of a lot tidier than it was up until a week ago. So if we come up onto the top, what I've done is I have made a control panel. It's in the early stages yet, I'm still painting it, haven't finished all the painting, but I've divided the layout into 3 distinct sort of sections. So here, as you probably already guessed, this is the station area slash TMD, and then on the left hand side we've got the TMD over there, and then the right hand side, which has nothing in it at the moment, will eventually be the junction that's over there on top of those bridges. Now, doing all that wasn't very much fun at all. It's taken absolutely ages, and it wasn't very enjoyable. But on the plus side, I did get the points that weren't working fixed. One of the ones was this one. It just had a couple of loose wires, and now it's working fine. So if we find the switch for it, I think it's that one. There we go. So it works now. But the main thing that wasn't working with that beforehand was the polarity switch, because the wire had come off. So I wasn't actually getting any power going to the point at all, so the whole point was dead, which meant I couldn't actually get anything into this area here. The trucks I showed you a couple of videos ago, they're all up here on the layout now. They look really good. Obviously there's a Mothercare truck, one of the BRS ones. I thought it'd be quite good to do a little scene where it's having to turn left and swing way out into the other carriageway and block all the traffic. Also picked up a few more cars. Got this little XR3i police car. There's a Jag XJS as well. I think that's on the motorway somewhere. Got the Weetabix truck over there. That's very good. So yeah, in terms of trucks, I'm quite happy with the number of trucks I've got on the layout at the moment. I might do 1 or 2 more just for variety, but I think we're pretty good. I do need to get a few more buses though. Also picked up a little Bedford HA in the Pucker Pies livery. Really like that, that's really good. In terms of the coach lighting, I've run out of components at the moment, but I am working through it. Although you can't see it, this entire HST is lit, as well as my Mark IIs. Look down there, you can see the lights in those just because they're in the shade. Some of the other stuff I've picked up as well is some much needed steel wagons. I've always wanted a steel train on the layout. So we've got some telescopic steel hood wagons. They're made by Dapol and they're really nice. We've got some BAA steel coil carrier wagons. They're made by Bachmann. And it's just a mixture of those. And then also I've put the Boaty bolsters in there as well. So I need to make some loads to put on that. I think that'll look really good once it's all loaded up. You can see there's some coils already on the BAAs. They came with the models as standard. I'm also going to be picking up some more Mark II coaches soon. Bachmann in their new announcements have announced that they're going to do another run of the second class Network South East coach, which is just behind the HST. There it is. They're going to be doing another run of those, and I desperately need some to complete some of my Network South East rakes of coaches. So yeah, I'll be picking some of those up when they hit the shelves. I'll also be picking up some more 47s soon. Bachmann are bringing out 2 in Network South East livery soon, and I'll be picking those up as soon as I can. They look really good already just from the sample pictures I've seen, and they'll go really well with the sort of era that the layout's set in and the region that it's in. It'll also give me an excuse to buy more of those Mark II coaches. So we'll be making some coal loads soon to go in these wagons. Just they look a bit dull when they're empty, as well as weathering them all up. We need a lot more weathering. I'm quite behind with the weathering, to be honest. There's loads of stuff I need to do, but it does make a real difference. This scrap train will need a little bit more weathering, as well as the additional Mark II coaches I'm going to pick up. You can see the difference. These coaches have been lightly weathered, whereas this one is pristine. And it's just too clean. Looks nice like that. Nice and realistic. I'm hoping to get started on the motorway soon as well. I need to do all the lights obviously down the central reservation and paint the road markings. At the moment it's a bit bare. But yeah, the trucks look really good on the motorway. I'm glad I ended up making those. They took ages to do and they were a real pain, especially the Mothercare ones, to actually get looking right. But I'm glad I did it. A while ago I added a couple of warehouses in as well. These are from Ten Commandments, and this is the large warehouse that they do. I painted it up as it comes out of the box just as a piece of plaster. It's just white in colour, so you will need to paint it. And I think they look really nice. I've just added a couple of period logos to the warehouses. So we've got obviously BRS, Austin Rover, which would have eventually become Rover Group. I think it was Rover Group in 1990. So the layout's set between 88 and 90, so I thought I'd go for the old Austin Rover logo. So that's pretty much what I've done over the last couple of weeks. As you can see, most of it's just been new purchases, new additions to the fleet. The biggest job was all the wiring and the control panel, which is still in progress. But I'm glad I did it. It's made a real difference.